Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Ticket to Life. I am Henrie, and I'm so glad that you are here. I want to remind you that today is another day or another evening. And if you are given this day or evening and some things just didn't work out for you today or yesterday, guess what? It doesn't matter because tomorrow is a new day. So when you listen to this podcast tomorrow, today, or whenever you do, you get to start with a clean slate. So you can just hear the beginning of this podcast every day and just know, oh, Henrie said I have a clean slate today. So please try your best and try to get back in the time where you can't, don't try to go back in time and repair damage that has been done. You did something or said something. Start anew, start refreshed, and be thankful that God has given you this new day with a clean slate. That's awesome, right? We get to start anew. I wanted to talk to today about what teens are doing nowadays. Things have just changed tremendously from when I was a kid. But first, a simple reminder that I'm not a therapist, a guru of any sort, a life coach, and these are just my opinions. I'm Henrie, a wife, a mom, a grandmother, aka Lita, a sister, a friend, a podcaster, and the best part of being me is that I am a child of God. So when I do talk about certain things, people go, well, she's not very godly. She's speaking about blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? I am human. And I only speak the truth here, people. So how many of you have kids, or shall I say adolescents? Now, how many of you knew that there are different ages of adolescence? I didn't, but my old friend Google informed me. So I Googled it. And by the way, if your kid's in the car or wherever you're listening to Ticket to Life, you might want them to use earmuffs, send them to the other room. Well, you can't do that if you're in a car. But I will be talking about mating, fornication, lovemaking, whatever you want to call it. I just call it sex. And I'll be talking about that later on the podcast. Just want to give you a heads up, just in case. But early adolescence is the ages 10 to 13. This is when puberty starts to set in. Yes, I'm going right into this podcast. I've got a lot to say. You know, where hair starts to grow in places on our bodies, and you had no idea you could grow hair there, and little girls start budding. Well, you get the picture. Now, middle adolescence is ages 14 through 17. Puberty is still happening and includes kids, teens, feeling the one of independence, I don't need you, Mom. I don't need you, Dad. And feel the need of social exploration, such as just trying to fit in with certain groups, certain types of people. Now, the late adolescence is 18 to 21, which 21, I'm figuring they're a young adult. At this stage, it's probably harder for the parents or for some parents, where they become more of an adult and start having their own identity and prep for living and what they're going to do and what comes next. Now, I say this to some parents because some parents can't let go, and that's not healthy for you or for your kids. Some will go to college and some will not. Some parents will say, you get a job and move out. And now about what were you doing? What were you really capable of doing in the world at the ages of 18, 19, 20, 21? If your kids have that opportunity and want to go to college, I hope they go. But if they don't, they can go to a trade school. But I hope that it is so hard for kids to think about that because, during that time, they're having fun, or they should be. I married at 21 and that fizzled out. And then I had no choice but to grow up. If I was old enough to get married and divorced after 3 years, I definitely was old enough to take care of myself. Broke all the time, but I managed. And I will admit, I was on the no money, no food diet, and I looked great. But it was such a good experience going through divorce. I thank my ex for that because I couldn't have found my happily ever after had that not happened. But teens today are into things that some are not so good. Social media, gaming, fashion, sports, and many teens are so concerned where they fit in. And unfortunately, this is not so good on social media platforms. I have, I don't know, a few podcasts on bullying, and you don't even have to look at a person. You can do it all online now, folks. Social media platforms such as Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok are used for so many communication for kids now. And teens and some adults are lacking one of the things you need in life, and that's social skills. And they don't know how to carry on a conversation with someone. And that's really hard. That's sad, because we should all be able to have some sort of communication. Even if you're the new person, be able to talk, not be on your phone. Have you ever noticed how many kids are with their parents, let's say at a restaurant, the store, and no one's talking? They are all on their phones. Now, we have been doing a 28-day technology fast, and it's interesting how many times a day I was picking up my phone. But I will have to admit, when you know and truly try to change things, it can be done. One day, I was looking at the old, because you can look on that on the iPhone, how many times you picked it up. One day, I picked up my phone 121 times. Ask me what I was looking at. Now, I do pick it up to look at the time sometimes, even though I wear a watch. Hello. But, yeah, so on this fast, what I was reading, it's best that they recommend that you get your kids a dumb phone. And I think that's funny, because when the cell phones first came out, we all had dumb phones, little flip phones, and we thought we were so cool. And now they're just called dumb phones, but they weren't called that. But now you have the cool Androids, and the iPhones came out, and we thought that we were cool having the flip phones. Had we only know what was going to come in our future. So I don't know. Some parents just like, oh, my kids need to have the most newest phone around because they want to fit in. Okay. Guess what? That's not helping their social skills. They would survive. Just like you survived, I survived. Now, the early, middle, late adolescents are experiencing a decline in social skills. And I really believe that due to technology and social isolation. This is how they communicate. Have you ever seen a group of kids and they're all on their phones? No one's talking. You can see a group of kids together and all of them are on the phone. Now, I do love my device, but I was on it way too much, and I am doing so much better. The first week, I think I cut back 21%. It's just interesting, and I'm declining little by little. I mean, I still use it. Haven't played my 2 favorite games in 3 weeks, and I'm not getting the shake, so that's always good. But I am doing better. Now, difficulties of making friends and struggling with communication and a preference for digital interaction over face-to-face conversations, that's not good. However, these issues can be addressed through various strategies, parents, including modeling healthy social interactions, like having your kids have friends over, say cell phones over here, I'll go do whatever, play games or whatever. And yes, I meant video games for teens, not, I don't know, maybe some teens do play board games, I'm not sure. But some are seeking professional help if needed, because some kids are so obsessed with their phones. And you don't think, oh, that's not true, but it is. You can Google it. But a certain degree, you have to give them privacy. I know that. But you should always know what they're doing. I mean, you really should see who they're talking to. Ask them. But, looking over their shoulder, no, this is not going to kill them. Now, here in Texas, it's going to be very interesting this year. The kids will probably start, and this, I'm serious when I say this. I didn't look this up. I'm just saying this. That kids are going to start suffering from withdrawals from their devices. Like I said, it is an addiction. The school year here in Texas has a new law, House Bill 1481, that prohibits students from using cell phones and other or personal electronic devices during school hours in the public schools. Now, this means that the phones are going to be banned from the first bell, that bell's going to ring, to the very last bell at the end of the day. I'm not sure how teachers are going to manage because I do have a friend and her daughter's a teen. And last year I asked her, so do you get to use your cell phone in class? She goes, yeah, we can pick it up and use it during class. I'm like, what? When are they teaching and learning? But anyway, so this means that the phones will be banned. And TEA, the Texas Education Agency, has allocated $20 million in a grant funding to help schools implement the ban. So when my kids were in school, they had a rule that if you had your cell phone, which both my kids had cell phones, but they weren't as high tech as they are now, they would confiscate your phone and the parents would have to go up there and pay a fee to get it back. Now, if you are in Texas, you're going to need to talk to your kids about this. And you're going to have to tell them if your phone gets taken up, you're paying for it. The fee for back in the day was $20 to come get your phone. Otherwise, it was in phone jail. No, they'd put it in the school save or something. And we love our kids and we all love our devices. Unfortunately, mental health and well-being is affecting our lives with our love for this thing. This little thing we hold in our hands. I think it could be idolatry. And no es bueno, not good. Smartphones are an addiction. Anxiety, depression, sleep disturbances, social isolation, relationships, posture. Oh, my neck has hurt before because I'm looking at that stinking phone too much. And reduce physical activity because kids aren't getting out anymore. So anyway, if you don't believe me, Google it and find out. So we are the only ones who, as parents, grandparents, guardians, can guide our kids. I know that we all want our kids to fit in, but yet sometimes we want them to like us more than respect what we want for them. One of the most important things is communication. And I know the regular listeners, you're tired of hearing me say, communicate. You have to have communication. But it's true in any type of relationship. Start them young. Once a child is understanding certain things, it is time to let them know to come to you for anything. Okay, so this is going off now about the phones and stuff. But let's say a parent gets really upset because a kid breaks something. Like, let's say one of my grandchildren broke something, but they haven't that I know of at my house. And you get really upset. Well, honestly, it's kind of your fault too, because you should have put it away if it was something of value. Now I know some of you are rolling your eyes, but it's true. We need to take responsibility for our things if we don't want kids touching them. Now, of course, grandkids break something, you can blame yourself, but, put it out of their reach. Although, if you tell them once, don't touch, it should work. But does it? It matters what voice you use. And you can use this voice with teens also. Don't touch it, sweetie. Or you can become the dragon lady voice that says, don't touch it. This, or there will be consequences. You know that voice. We all have it. We are all capable of having it. So we just need to remember that as we mature as our kids mature, not we mature, hopefully you're mature if you have kids, that as they mature, some kids may seem to be a little bit more mature than others. But sometimes these kids that do seem mature still need guidance of parents. Some parents they're mature enough, they're responsible, and they're done. No. Even to this day, my kids will ask me certain things, and I feel honored that they ask me, certain things. So we can do that, and hopefully as parents, we are doing the best we can as grandparents, as guardians, or whatever. So let's move on to this next part. This is where I'm going to give you 10 seconds to ask your kids to leave the room, put some earmuffs on, put their little AirPods in. I'm assuming it didn't take that long, but anyway. Okay, now, here's the part that no parent wants to face or talk about. Or, no, some parents do, which is good. And that is sex. How many of you have literally had the sex talk? Or did you let someone else tell them about the birds and the bees? Did you know that the majority of teen pregnancies in the U.S. occur among older teens, with 75% of births females from the age of 15? And it could go anywhere from age 18 to 19, and then unfortunately some even younger. Now, believe it or not, that some young girls and young men need to feel loved by someone. And that is how they think. That's what that love is, by having sex. And they want to keep that person close, and they want them in their life forever, and think if they get pregnant purposely, the guy will stay with them and live happily ever after. Maybe in some rare cases, and I mean rare, this can happen. Otherwise, it will be see you later and never be heard again from the guy. And guess what? You got a teen mom. And with social media and wanting the need to be touched and loved by someone at a certain age, they let's say somebody meets someone, they met someone on social media. Be aware of what they are doing on their devices, mom and dad, or guardians, grandparents. If you think that they might be having sex, ask them. Don't close your eyes. Open. Do you really want to be a grandparent in your early 30s, early 40s? That's just when you're thrilled. Oh, they're getting older. They are becoming a little bit more responsible. And then you got to start all over. Now, I have a story to share. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. And the teens are middle adolescents, so age 15 and 16. Now, the boy is 15 and the girl is 16, and her mom is 32. And I will let you do the math. And the grandmother is 48. I'll let you do the math again. And by now, you should see the timeline of how we continue some things in our life or our family trees. There's no judgment, because I know things just happen. I like to say that. Things just happen. The boy, we shall call him Sean, and the girl, Abby. And remember, their names have changed, especially since they are teens. And in no way, if this sounds like someone you know with that name, it's just a coincidence. But Sean's parents know that at age 15, how some boys, their little hormones are raging. Now, my question to the dad when he's telling me this story, because I did not ask, I think he just needed to talk, tell someone, was when he was telling me the story, the first thing I did say, please tell me you talked to him and bought him some condoms. Please tell me that. And he said, yes. Now, the dad said, I remember what I was like. That's why I've talked to him and provided the condoms. So he and Abby are Sean and Abby are getting very involved in their relationship. And Dad asked, are you having sex with her? He asked his kid. So that was good. He was able to ask him. And he says, if so, you better be responsible. Now, many of you might be thinking, tell your kid not to do it, or tell them he will go blind or walk with a limp, but as you know, we were all there at one time, and did we listen and do everything our parents told us? No. At least I know I didn't. And if you said yes, contact the right people for your sainthood, because that would be absolutely fantastic. Okay, back to the story. And Dad is asking him, how's it going? Everything okay? Sometimes as parents, we just know about our kids. We just know how they are. We see everything, or hopefully you do. You know your child. You know if they start acting different or whatever. And so we ask him a few weeks later. Sean says, yes, I am. Okay. He said, please tell me you're smart and use protection. And he said, yes. Whew. Right? So Dad tells Mom, and of course, Mom gets furious and wants to call the little harlot's mother. Dad is very calm, and we can't call, especially when Mom is furious. And no, Abby is not a harlot. He really had to calm Mom down, he said. So she's a teenager, and let her, let us calm down before we do anything. So once Mom calms down, she calls Abby's mom, and I'm sure Abby's mom was thinking, oh, I bet they're calling to ask us to get together for dinner. Better think again. That's not why she called. But anyway, Sean's mom calls and says, did you know our kids were having sex? Now, if someone were to call me and tell me that about my kids, I don't know what I would have said. But calmly, Abby's mom says, oh, no, I didn't. I'll talk to her. Last month, I forgot to buy her pills, but I will go and get them sometime this week. I know my jaw dropped when he told me that. I'm like, wait, what? Because I guess it's I don't know. As you can see, I'm still a little. I'm not sure how I would have handled. I don't know how I would have handled it. And I think it was great that the mom called, but I had no idea that's what people do now. I think it's great, or at least the responsible parent. It was great. So back in the day, we kept everything hush hush, and many still might do that. I did tell the dad, she will break his heart eventually because she is a little bit older and experienced and a grade older than Sean. And the dad said, yeah, but the heartbreak is a good thing. It teaches you about life, and everyone needs a heartbreak, he says. And I thought that is so true. We all do need a heartbreak. They may be painful, but I myself never thought about it that way. And he was right. Everyone does need a heartbreak, and you pick yourself up and you keep going and learn life's lessons and learn from it. And the world will continue to spin and you won't fall off. You'll just keep going. And that's what your goal is. So I don't know. I'm very proud of the parents because I don't know what I just don't know. In other words, I don't know what my kids did or what other parents did, because back in the day, and now I can say that, I don't think people would have been able to be so open about that. And again, a lot of people still cannot be open about that. So if you're wondering what your teens are doing, ask them. You should know by now when they are telling you. By the age of 5, you can tell if they're telling you the truth. How many of you remember when men and women actually saved themselves for the wedding night? Now, a relatively small percentage of couples in the U.S. choose to have sex they save themselves for their wedding night. While some surveys indicate a significant portion of people believe they should wait, the actual practice is much less common, though. We think about it, we say it. That's like putting the phone down, but you keep picking it up. Estimates range from 1% to 2% of couples, with vast majority engaging in marital sex. So anyway, I promise I didn't mean to get on the soapbox, or did I mean to? But I will step down. And don't forget that these are my opinions, and you can roll your eyes or you can open them. Find out what your kids are doing. Keep that open communication. It is so, so important. So I hope I have helped some parents in wondering, or those who are wondering about, what if my kid is having sex? Or what if my kids are using the phone way too much? I'm hoping that everyone had a wonderful family life growing up. But no, I can't. That's not possible that everyone did. It would be great, but I guess that's not being realistic. But I hope that you were able to break the chain and change things for your family, because that would be amazing. So I just want to tell you, thank you for listening. But one more big thanks. School is starting this week here in Texas, in different districts. I want to thank all the people that are in education, the principals, the secretaries, the custodians, the special ed teachers, all educators in every grade level. Because without you, we would not have someone to teach our kids. Now in Texas, it might be a little bit tougher now without having those cell phones. So I send prayers to all of the educators, my friends, those I don't know. But please, 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 teach your kids to be kind and respectful in school. They'll have so much of a better year, and so will you. You won't be getting that call from the office. Hello, Mr. Smith. Your child's in the office. Nothing worse than that. But anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode, and I myself have learned so much of how many things kids, teens, and parents are having to deal with now. Things have changed, but we need to stay on top of it. We are the only ones who can guide our kids to a better future. We are. And I know a lot of parents both have to work nowadays. Heck, you have to work just to pay for the cell phones. They're so expensive. I don't know. I'm thinking I missed my flip phone when I first got my iPhone. They were really convenient and small, and asked me if I'd go back to a flip phone. No, I wouldn't. But again, please, please, please remember, be kind, be good to yourself. And I have enjoyed, again, like this episode. I'm hoping that you do talk to your kids and start those conversations early about everything. Not just, how was your day at school? Find out who they're hanging out with. Find out who they're talking to. Check and see, you're paying the bill. You can be able to see who they're talking to, what websites they're going to, what apps they have. Be in control. Be the good parent. Be that parent, because they will appreciate you so much more. I'm not saying confine them to their room and, they can never leave. No, that is not good. You want them to go out. You want them to have fun, but guide them. And as usual, all good things must come to an end. And until next week, I hope that you have a wonderful next 24 hours, a wonderful next 7 days. So I will be sending prayers your way, and I will see you next week. So please, the most important thing I could say to you is please, please, please go find your blessings, because they're probably in your house. They're probably your kids. So until next week, this is Henrie. Thank you again for listening. And I hope you know you're not alone in parenting. There are so many other parents dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with. Just have communication. Trust me, it'll help you. And your kids will be so grateful that they can come to you and talk to you about anything and everything. Until next week, this is Henrie. Thanks for listening.